Alright you guys, what's happening? Welcome back to another matchday reaction video. This time we're talking Aberdeen 0, Kilmarnock 0. This could be the fucking shortest video of the season. So 0-0 draw the day. Absolutely dreadful game of football. To be honest, you gotta give both defences credit because they defended very, very well, but it made for a really, really boring game to watch. Hardly any chances in the game. Very, very little to talk about. Just a stinking game of football. So just a quick recap of Wednesday. If you're wondering where the video was for the Hamilton game, I was working. I had my laptop there so I could watch it through nefarious means, and the Wi-Fi signal was so pish that I saw about 15 minutes of the first half and I saw maybe the first 2 minutes of the second half. So yeah, there was no point in doing a video after that. But that was a really, really good win at a place that we do tend to do very well at. So I was hoping that would obviously set us up very well for today. But to be honest, the performance going forward especially was so flat today, it was just unbelievable. I thought that Kilmarnock defended very well, but we made it very, very easy for them. There was a couple of guys in our team who I thought had very, very good games, but there was a couple in particular who I thought were completely anonymous. So we'll get to that as we get to that. The weird thing is, the first half hour of the game was played at a pretty high tempo, but because of the high tempo, there was just no quality in the final third for either side, and that was just making it a really, really poor game. The teams were kind of breaking at pace, and just nothing was there in the final third. Final ball so poor. Any creativity was just completely lacking, and it just, like I say, made for a really, really shite game today. I think realistically, the only things worth talking about in the first half was Stevie May had a drive from the edge of the box when he ran through the middle. He hit it really, really well. It was at a fairly comfortable height to save. There was another one where Greg Stewart a couple of minutes later brought the ball in beautifully and turned the boy, but ball was on his right foot and not a great strike, and it's easy for the keeper. And at 0-0 you're just thinking this game can't get any worse. And like I say, the game didn't get any worse, but yeah, it still wasn't great. Greg Stewart flashed one just wide about 5 minutes in the second half, and you were thinking, right, we're getting into the game at last. But to be honest, like, there really wasn't a lot going on in that second half. I guess there's sort of three talking points in the second half, so we'll go through them in order. So these all happened in the last 15 minutes as well. Scott McKenna went off injured and was replaced by Tommy Hoban, who's Hoban's first appearance in months. Now, McKenna looked absolutely distraught on the bench, so fingers crossed that this isn't going to be something long term. We can't afford to lose Scott McKenna, and especially with Mikey Devlin, Christ knows when he's going to be back. We can't afford to play the rest of the season with, say, Considine and Hoban as our centre halves. It's just no sustainable, and hopefully everything's alright with McKenna, but it didn't look good, to be honest. Second one, about 8-9 minutes to go, Chris Boyd gets himself sent off. Now, to be honest, when I first saw this, I thought it was a wee bit harsh. When I first saw it, I thought that it was a booking, clearly. But he's left his boot in, Shinnie's got there, and Shinnie's got there to a loose ball, and he's kind of slide tackled the ball away. And Boyd's came in really late and left the foot in, so he had to walk for that one, to be honest. It was a dreadful challenge. And yeah, I mean, Boyd can have absolutely no complaints. Boyd's just like that, though, to be honest. He's always going to bitch and moan, but he can have no complaints about the decision. And yeah, just a waste of an appearance for him. Obviously, he's come off the bench only about 10-15 minutes before and then got himself sent off. So just stupid for Chris Boyd, and really put his team under pressure. Granted, Kilmarnock were never an attacking threat today, but going down to 10 men, you knew they were just going to settle for the point. And they sat very, very deep in the last few minutes. We didn't really create anything, although there was the third incident of the second half was when Niall McGinn got brought down on the edge of the box. Now, I thought it was a foul. It was hard to tell whether it was inside or outside the box. The defender, I think it was Stuart Finlay, who actually had a great game, to be honest, for Kilmarnock today, had a hand round the chest, and when McGinn tries to turn him, he's not really got anywhere to go. I thought it was a clear foul, but the debate for me was whether it was inside or outside the box. But referee didn't give anything, so, you know, that was a pain in the arse. But we are obviously really disappointed with the result today. I think that Kilmarnock are obviously a really, really good side. They're such an improved side under Steve Clarke, and you've got to give them massive credit. And I think there's a lot of good things you can say about Kilmarnock today, but like I said, they were no attacking threat at all today. So to really be very little going forward as well was really, really disappointing for us. It kind of looked like some of our performances earlier in the season when we were just lacking creativity, and I hope we're not going to fall back into that again, because we've started to score goals the last couple of months after a pretty flat start to the season, but we created hardly anything against Stenhousemuir. But the sounds of it, we didn't create a huge amount against Hamilton despite scoring 3 goals, and then today we created very, very little. So yeah, really frustrating afternoon for Aberdeen. Before I get on to the Aberdeen team, I'll talk about a few guys for Kilmarnock. I thought their fullbacks today were very, very good. I thought O'Donnell going forward was their only danger, to be honest, going forward. I thought he had a pretty good game defensively. Greg Taylor at left back, he did a really good job keeping anybody who was out there quiet, so that was really impressive. And like I said, Finlay, I thought, had a fantastic game at centre-half. Guys like Gary Dicker, I think Dicker's one of those guys that you wouldn't be excited if your team signed him, but you didn't really want to play against him. He's nippy, he's very, very good in the midfield, he's underrated on the ball, I think, and yeah, just a guy who I think is very underrated in the Premier League. They are well organised, they are well drilled. Now obviously today for them, Brophy spent the whole game offside. Jordan Jones really wasn't in the game. Nothing really worked for Kilmarnock going forward, but again, you can say the same for us. So guys who I thought had a good game today, I'll start with Graham Shinney, who I thought was the best player in the park, to be honest. He was breaking up play really, really well. His short and intermediate passing was really, really good. I was just impressed with Shinney all over today. Now he did get a pretty silly booking towards the start of the second half, and it kind of nullified that part of his game a wee bit. But I thought he was really, really good today, and I was really, really impressed. Unfortunately, the other one I have to talk about that I thought was brilliant today for us was Scott McKenna, and I'm really, really worried about his injury, so hopefully it's not going to be anything long-term. But I thought he was having a smashing game before he went off the day. But we'll see what happens with him. I don't really expect him to play on Tuesday, but hopefully he's not going to be out too long. On the flip side, I thought Gary Mackay-Steven was virtually anonymous today. I thought that he never really got into the game. He beat his man every now and then, but he always had to go back for seconds and get tackled, and yet just GMS offered us nothing today. And Stevie May, I've been a big defender of Stevie May since I've started doing these match reviews, but Stevie May was so shite the day, it was unbelievable. He just never got into the game. So there's not really anything else to talk about with the rest of the team. The only things that really stuck out to me, Lewis Ferguson wasted the ball a wee bit too much today. Max Lowe, there was a couple of times where Kilmarnock would break down their left and then try and switch the ball. And there's no reason for Max Lowe to be out of position there, but he was still up the park, so fuck knows what that was all about. But Max Lowe, to be honest, was one of our better attacking threats today, so I'm not going to criticise him too much. But we did hear when he came back for Derby that he didn't really play very well defensively in his game or two when he was back. And yeah, defensively today, not that he had a lot to do, but he was out of position a lot today, to be honest. There's times he's going to be caught out of position because of the way he plays, but when the ball's on the other side and it isn't a quick breakaway, there's no need for him to not be at left back. But overall, yeah, just a really, really poor performance today from Aberdeen. Defensively, I thought both teams were really, really good, and you can't really take that away, but at the same time, it makes for just a really, really poor game to watch. So, disappointing, chance to get up to second place, get above Kilmarnock, and we didn't take it. Just a flat performance for Aberdeen. A shite game, to be honest. Possibly the worst Aberdeen game I've watched this season. There has been some stinkers this year, but nothing's really jumping out to me as being worse than that game. It was dreadful. So this isn't going to be a long video, so we'll start wrapping it up just now. Tuesday is obviously the replay against Stenhousemuir. That's going to be massive for us because we've got a fairly nice draw in the next round of the Cup if we get through, either Dundee or Queen of the South at home. So you've got to fancy that. You got to fancy that as being a path to the quarter-final, but we've got to get past Stenhousemuir. We should have done it first time round, but we didn't play well. Hopefully, that first performance will at least motivate the guys to go out and get the job done professionally in the replay. But it's a pain in the arse to have another game in 3 days, considering like we've had that break and then it's like Saturday midweek, it's shite. But we'll see how it goes on Tuesday. I will be working, but I will try my best to actually get a decent signal, watch the game, and then talk to you afterwards. But I'm going to wrap up just now because that game was fucking terrible today. If you've enjoyed, please hit the red subscribe button. We are trying to build the channel up and it's been going no bad. Like the video as well, which helps get it out there. And if you know anybody who'd enjoy this, share it with them. I've been QMJ. If you haven't watched the highlights, don't fucking bother. I'll talk to you again sometime.